Hello and welcome. I guess the cat is out of the bag. You see the background is completely different. This video is going to be a follow-up to my tower video. It's tower change, depth year 2021, and yeah, a whole combination of things. So make yourself comfortable, get yourself something nice to drink. Because I just want this is going to be a ramble, people. We're just going to hang out together, and I'm going to get you up to date, up to speed with what's going on with me. Last week, I did a tower video. I did a video where I discussed the effect of the tower, the energy of the tower in real life, kind of. And I shared a little bit about what I was going through. Well, I pulled the bricks. The tower has crumbled. We are now rebuilding. I said that sorry for being vague or whatever. Basically, I'm changing. I left my current employment. Or not, I haven't left yet. I still have a few days to, I still have a week to work there. But I gave notice because it was time. And it's always hard, even when you're the one moving on, right? It's hard. It's hard when things change. It's hard when you change. It's hard when you haven't changed, but the environment around you is changing, and it's no longer in sync with you. Maybe I should talk a little bit about where I am. My office was moved. We moved our office. My husband and I share office space. And we used to have our office space in what I guess was designed to be the living room of this house that we live in. And my husband started talking about, we need to change. It's like, when, before we moved in here and we lived in apartments and stuff like that, we, both he separately, before we met, and myself would move furniture around to zhuzh up the energy a little bit, right? Change up the energy, try something, try a new configuration, that kind of stuff, right? Not to get stale or... It did seem like the energy was stale in our home office. It seemed like it was not stale, but stagnant. So, yesterday we moved mine. I'm facing where my office is now. And that's my desk and my workshop area for where I create things, whether it's textile or witchcraft. And behind me, what you see is my witchy curio cabinet, and behind that is my altar. So, and this is my dining room. All right. Now that we got that out of the way. So when I recorded that video, I was right at that point where the tower was crumbling. So of course I thought it would be a good idea to discuss what that was feeling like for me in that moment. To everyone who posted a comment on that video, to everyone who took the time to send me a private message, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for your love and support. Thank you for reaching out. I was so overwhelmed. I didn't even have a chance to answer anyone. So I want to take this opportunity now to thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Your love and support is very much appreciated. I'm humbled. Thank you. Okay. All right. So next thing I wanted to ramble about today is for this move to take place, moving my office space it's in the corner of a larger room. It's like an open area, kitchen, dining room, and our office space. In order to move here, I had to do quite a bit of decluttering, and I was already decluttering anyway, But I did quite a bit of downsizing and decluttering and reorganizing in order to downsize the things that I use, like downsize the things I didn't use, bring to the forefront the things that I do use and want to use, and get rid of the rest. So it was very telling, right? Because I'm also in the depth year, and depth year looks a lot different for me this year than it did in 2019. And depth year for me is again a natural state. It's a state that it's my natural state. Depth year. And occasionally I like to come up to the surface and acquire new books, acquire new decks, acquire new ideas. Well, no, actually that's not true. I'm interested in new ideas all the time. But what I'm trying to say is that when it comes to stuff, I was overwhelmed 2020 with the sheer amount of decks that came into my life. I was also overwhelmed with the sheer amount of books that I still held on to that no longer served me. So there's books I will always keep, and I've said this before, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. There's books I will always keep. They were seminal. You know what I mean? But there are some that just had to go to make room for the new, the fresh idea, the new ideas, the fresh ideas. So I'm really excited to spend time exploring the new ideas, the fresh ideas, and so on and so forth. Just yesterday, I wrote an endorsement for a book that's coming out in May of this year, May 2021, that I'm very excited about. And I'm going to do a little plug here because it's exciting. If you are a folk magic practitioner, it doesn't matter what your cultural background is. If you're anything like me, you're interested in other cultures and what they're doing in terms of folk magic, because the beauty and the power in folk magic is that it's universal. The cultures change. The history is different from where it's from. The culture is different from where it's from. But the power in the belief system and the magic, it's extremely powerful, and it's humble but extremely powerful. So that's why I've always been a folk magic person. Now here's the thing. When I started practicing magic, I didn't have a name for it. It wasn't folk magic or whatever. It was just witchcraft. It was either praying novenas or outright witchcraft. And I was raised in a multicultural city, Montreal, although my neighborhood was primarily occupied by Italian immigrants and then their children, my generation. So Italian immigrants, French Canadian, Quebecois, and people from Haiti, Cambodia, Vietnam, like in smaller like quantity, right? And hang on, I'll be right back. And I'm back. Just had to make sure my husband was okay. Sounded like there was something going on the other side there. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so like I've been exposed to people from Cuba, people, not so much from Mexico because Montreal is like quite a distance from Mexico, but it was a lot of Cuban immigrants. Mostly was from Haiti and from Cuba, and from the West Indies. If they, and then there was like the neighborhood I grew up in. Yeah. Anyway, what was I getting at? Oh my God, I'm sorry. I'm like rambling. I'm rambling because it's like I've been wanting to record a video for days, right? And I just wasn't set up. I wasn't ready to, and I got like so many things I want to talk about. The book I endorsed. I read this wonderful book. I was asked to endorse it. I was so honored to have been asked. And it's a book on Mexican American folk magic. The title is American Brujeria. The author is J. Allen Cross. It's going to be published by Wiser Books, May of 2021. So keep an eye out for it. And the author is on Instagram as Oregon Wood Witch, underscore between Oregon Wood Witch. So Oregon underscore Wood underscore Witch. J. Allen Cross. Beautiful book, people. Can't wait till it's released. Can't wait to get some copies for friends that I know will enjoy it. And yeah, so that was something that I did this week. And I'm pretty excited again to add some new ideas and new practices to my library. And yeah, so I'll talk more about the book when I receive my copy. I pre-ordered it on Amazon, but .com. If you live in Canada, don't pre-order on Amazon.ca. You'll never get it, or you'll get it 6 months from now, like 6 months from when it's printed. It's crazy. So sorry, Amazon Canada, you suck. But anyway. So there was that. What else? I think it'll do me some good to have changed where my office lives, like my office space. I'm feeling more creative in this space already, and I only moved my desk over and everything over yesterday. It's funny, in my mind it seemed like it was going to be a 1 week ordeal to move my desk and my things, because I have a lot of stuff, people, a lot of stuff. Even though I downsized, I'm always doing something, right? So I have art supplies, craft supplies, sewing supplies, knitting supplies. It's all supplies here. And I'm really delighted because I'm going to be able to store my decks in the same area. Now that everything, now that I'm beside, my office is beside where my curio cabinet and my altar is. My more, and that's another, so let's talk about, okay, never mind, let's talk about decks. Why not, right? And I'll just let this go organically. I'll just follow the organic path of this ramble. I have my decks stored two different ways. I have the decks that I use for I don't even know what to call it, but they're my magical spiritual decks and magical religious decks. No, that's not true, because my magical religious supplies have their own box, and that would be my saints. Which I'm going to make notes during this ramble, people, because I have too many ideas for videos, and then it's better if I just write them down. So at a later, coming up soon, I'm gonna do a video about how I like the things I use for saint magic, the things I use for Italian folk magic, and what they are, how I store them. I know people have a lot of questions. When it comes to when you begin to start practicing saint magic. I did a video on how to start a relationship with saints, and I think I want to expand a little bit on that, because different people have different practices, have different ways of approaching saint magic. I'm a tactile person. I like my statues. I like my prayer cards. I prefer everything to be portable. So I don't I don't have a massive statue, or I don't have massive statues, is what I'm trying to say. And that's just because I like my stuff to be portable, and I like to be able to put it away. And that's what I'm gonna do a video at a later date. I'm just making notes here while I'm talking to you of that. So, saints, supplies, portable, be able to put away. This is Cinema Verite, people. In real time, you're watching me take notes. Exciting, right? You might want to take this opportunity to use the restroom. Portable, be able to put away. Yeah, so that's one of the videos that's coming up that I want to talk about. I've been wanting to talk about it for a while, but now it's like I'm thinking, oh my gosh, it's like suddenly I've been like, I'm on fire with creativity when I was pretty creatively bankrupt for a little while. Not so much for content. It was overall in my life. It's like I have like projects I started. I'm typically one of those people. If I start a knitting or a crochet project, it's like I don't put it down until I'm done. Or I'll have 3 different projects going at the same time. A knitting project, a crochet project, or whatever, and I finish all 3 at the same time. Well, I got some projects that I just stopped. I'm at the very end, and I just stopped. I put it away. And that's a blockage in creativity. Like that, you know what I mean? That's really what it is. Let's talking about that. Oh, so I have my decks stored. In this cabinet, I have the decks that I use that are primarily for communicating with spirits. I'm one of those people, if you've watched me for 5 minutes, you know that for me, cards, tarot, oracle deck is to communicate with spirits. Tarot for divination, for conversations about day-to-day solving problems in day-to-day life and stuff like that. And oracle for more spiritual guidance. So what I like now is that I used to have the decks that I use to communicate with spirit, the decks that I use in my magical practice were here and stored under my altar. Like there's a space there, and if there's any kind of interest, I'll do a little tour, short video tour. Not today, just leave a comment if that's of interest. How I store things. It's not going to be these are all my decks and like not yet. I can't do a deck collection video yet. I'm not set up. But anyway. And then there's those decks that I love, but they're not part of my practice, my spiritual magical practice. So I'm happy that now they're housed in my office close to my other stuff, instead of having them spread out through the house, right? Like I have, ideally, to be honest, if I could have a bookshelf here with all my books, that'd be incredible. But it's not possible. I have too many books. And there's not enough room for it because I have too many books. Okay. Next thing I wanted to talk about, I watched a video yesterday I think it was yesterday. It was really good. But that's because it spoke to me because of where I am, like up here, right? And it was by Stellar Tarot. Jess. I'll link to it below. And she talks about the 5 things that she no longer buys as a seasoned witchcraft practitioner, witch, what have you. And I found that very interesting because me too, I find myself not buying any of those things. It's a long time. But also since having had to go through my things and basically take an inventory of what I had, it's incredible, people. I still have, oh my gosh, I still have like candles from 20 years ago. I have a spell kit from Mélange Magique that I purchased in the brick and mortar store on St. Catherine, between Guy and St. Mark. That's where it used to be. 1997. Still in the box. It's a prosperity spell kit. It's really cute. Oil, little sesh, the little bag, the whole 9 yards is in there. Now I don't open it because it's a memento of days in a store gone by kind of thing. But it made me think of the things that I no longer buy, and I no longer buy and don't intend to buy for a long time, because, oh my gosh, people, I'm equipped, like a lot. And I thought maybe, in my little ramble, I might add that in. One thing I'm not buying anymore because I have an outrageous supply is incense. Having said that, there's exceptions. There's some I had to cull a bunch of incense because I found myself burning incense to get rid of it. Not really enjoying it, but burning it because I wanted to finish it. It doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even make sense with my worldview, this thing of like burning stuff that I don't like just to get rid of it. I should just pass it on, right? So I did. I went through all my incense and I still have a lifetime supply. But sometimes you want to try something new. So while we're here having this chat, I'm going to introduce you to something I bought. I ordered, oh my goodness, I ordered a drum for myself from dragonmoongifts.ca. I'm pretty sure I'll link it below. Dragonmoongifts.ca is a Canadian metaphysical shop. They're online. I'm pretty sure, I read on their website that they ship worldwide. They're in Alberta, which is the province just adjacent to where I live. And shipping is like super fast. Proper, like they charge they don't overcharge shipping. And if you live in America, your dollar goes a long way at their store. And they remind me a lot of Azure Green, but on a smaller scale. The only thing that made me sad was that they had purchased Mélange Magique, the online store, once the brick and mortar store had closed. Their online store was for sale. They had purchased Mélange Magique, and I was hoping they would continue to carry the oils and incense sticks and all that stuff that I had been using for 2 decades. But I guess they had to make a business decision, and it's not up to me to tell them what to do, right? So I was sad, but I can't get my Mélange Magique stuff anymore, but that's okay because I have quite a supply. Hang on, I'll be right back. Hi, I'm back. I had to pause for a little bit. The new space is, I think I mentioned, is although it allows me more room and all this stuff, it's also where all the excitement happens, right? So someone came in to get themselves some lunch and, well, had to pause. All right. So I think I was going on and on about, I got something from Dragon Moon. I ordered a drum, okay? It's beautiful. I love my new drum. The price was like really reasonable. And I'm just sad that they don't carry my Mélange Magique products, which was Moonwise brand, which I think was the store brand. But anyway, something I'm not going to buy anymore because that I mentioned was that I'm not going to be buying incense for quite a while because I have an outrageous, for like one person, well, doesn't even make sense. For someone that isn't a metaphysical shop, I have a lot of incense. And I'm not going to be, I've decided, depth year is a year that, okay, I'm not going to bring in any more new incense, except I lie because I did order this one. I saw it on Dragon Moon and I was intrigued. It's Mother Earth incense cones. It is, it says for export only. Interesting. Green Tree Candle Company, and it's Rotterdam. It's from Rotterdam in the Netherlands. So if you live, oh my God, that's terrible, right? Take my word for it. It says Green Tree Candle Company out of Rotterdam, Netherlands, and Mother Earth incense cones. It's a nice green scent. This is my handy dandy Zippo. Oops. There we go. Want to see it? There we go. I'm going to let it up right here, because now that I'm in my space, I can do it live. Nice, huh? Okay. Anyways, these burn for quite a while. At least a good 30 minutes compared to Hem. And yeah, Hem is probably a brand I'm not going to be purchasing anymore. So I'm going to show you my little... I got this little guy at one of those discount kind of like... When I was a kid, we used to call them 5, 10, 15 stores, 5 and dime stores. And it still exists as a 5 and dime store. It has like a grocery section and all that stuff. Anyway, I got this for like $3 and it came with a pack of incense. I love this thing. Now, I've seen where there's the one for stick incense like this, but I haven't seen one in a store to buy one. So, there we go. We got some incense going, some Mother Earth. It's very nice. It's green, and it's very pleasant. So I'm not going to be buying incense for the foreseeable future. But that's what I was going to say. That's not to say that I'm not going to do that thing where I'm going to use up a pack of incense to get rid of it, even though I hate it. If I hate the incense, it's got to go. You know what I mean? Like if I burn a stick of incense and it bothers me, I don't enjoy it, I'm not even going to let it finish burning. I'm going to, kill it and pass the whole package along. Next thing I'm not going to buy anymore is colored, spell candles, colored candles, those dinner taper type candles. Well, they look like dinner taper kind, you know what I mean? Like those, I'm not going to buy those anymore. The only color candle I ever purchase is green because I use it for everything. Green or white. If I can find black, I even buy black. But that's pretty much all I use. And I'm sorry, I'm fidgeting. It's a new space. I don't know where to put myself. So I'm not going to be buying colored candles anymore or specific candles. I buy tea lights in bulk. I use them for everything. I'm starting to, so I use the tea lights for everything when I need a fire under something. So if I'm burning, if I'm warming oil, if I'm doing, that kind of stuff, right? But also for spells, I've discovered that I really love working with beeswax tea lights. So this is a beeswax pillar that I'm burning up here. And I really enjoy burning beeswax, and it's like they're god awful expensive where I live, even though there's a manufacturing there's a place that makes them here in my city. They're still god awful expensive. But I did buy some beeswax tea lights, and I'm going to be using those for spell work. Paraffin tea lights are the only, those I'm going to buy in bulk. And I use those for my oil warmer and all that stuff. But, so candles, no more. I'm using up what I have. I have these glass, one orange, one green, that I got at the very beginning of my journey that stay with me. They have been with me since the beginning. And I just get refills, glass refills from Dollar Tree, $1.25 here in Canada. I do prefer the inserts that actually are larger, that fit, the 9-day ones. but the Catholic supply store in my city charges $10. No, sorry, $12.99 now for an insert, like a refill for one of those. And that, I'm sorry, but no, no. $13 for a plastic cylinder filled with paraffin wax and a wick. No. So I usually get one of those glass 7-day ones from Dollar Tree when they have the plain ones. If they don't have the plain ones and there's a saint on it, doesn't matter. I practice saint magic, don't care. I use that. Okay. Candles. The next thing I'm not going to purchase anymore, or the next thing I don't purchase anymore, is essential oils. Now you must be saying, what do you mean? No. First of all, I don't use essential oil for magic. I don't use essential oil for magic because the list of essential oil that I would use for my magic is harmful to pets. And we have pets in our house. We have the dog that lives on the main floor, and we have a cat and a fish that live downstairs. Excuse me, that's my phone going off. Put it here, further away. All right. So, also, I find that essential oils when I started practicing magic, I always used fragrance oils. I know there's a lot of smoke, but it's not bothering me. It's quite nice. It's quite a bit it is nice, huh?
Very.
The essential, I've never used essential oils in my magic. Essential oils by their nature are they're very expensive, right? And I started out using fragrance oils and intention oils that I would purchase at the metaphysical shop. And none of these were essential oils. These were all synthetic. And they've always been very safe. Safe to burn, safe to anoint my candle, safe to burn, safe to use with pets in the home. So I don't use essential oils. And I don't purchase them. I'm not purchasing them anymore for magic. I do have some essential oils that I use in a diffuser in our bedroom, or for holistic medicine kind of reasons, like for health. And those are like a few, and even those I got to be careful because of pets, right? So we have, for personal care items that I make from scratch, I'm using lavender. My favorite essential oil is rosewood. Hard to find where I live, so whenever I can find it, I'll buy it. But if I'm almost out, and if I find it, I find it. If I don't, I don't. But yeah, no, essential oils are not safe to use for your magic. They're too expensive to waste in your magic, and I call it waste because they're very volatile, and I'm a person that, in case you haven't noticed, I'm constantly sniffing stuff on camera. I do this in real life all the time. For me, the fragrance has to last. So, and I've had nothing but success with the fragrance oils that I bought at the metaphysical shop, which brings me to the next thing I'm never purchasing anymore, or at least not for quite a while, because I have a supply. It's fragrance oils. I have a little chest. Actually, you could see it right here. This chest right here is full of my fragrance oils, most of which came from Mélange Magique. I stocked up, and I have all the ones that I use for spells. And a little goes a long way, and it's not something I'm needing to buy. But I want to add something on to that. I'm not going to buy oil. There's something I've never purchased, and I never will. Any kind of spell oil created by somebody else. I'm not one to ever buy a spell candle that was dressed and the intention put in by someone else. And I will never buy, I will never buy oil that, with intention set and ingredients for a spell in it and stuff like that. So, some of these subscription boxes where they send you an oil with a certain intention, for me, they don't work. I don't want it. I don't want somebody else's magic. I want my magic. So yeah, you know what I mean? So I'm fussy that way, but for me, it's I'm not, I have no, you know, I'm not throwing shade on the people who create these items. There's certainly a market. I'm not your target market. And the next thing, I don't buy anymore crystals. It's a while I don't buy crystals. Now, I'm signed up to Witch Casket out of UK. I love that subscription box. And even during a depth year, I'm going to continue that prescription. Sorry, I'm a nurse, people. The lines get crossed. I'm going to continue with that subscription because I love it. The girls in my household love it. You know what I mean? There's always, it doesn't go to waste. There's something for everyone when it arrives, and for me, it's just incredible. It's the best subscription box of all the ones I researched. It's totally for me. It doesn't come with pre-made stuff. It comes with the ingredients to make my own. Beautiful. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah. So anything spells made by other people, it's not for me. But I know, there's a market for it, and I'm not throwing shade. Lots of people, it's like convenience food, right? Lots of people, they need the convenience of convenience food. They love convenience food. Well, keep enjoying it. I cook from scratch. I cook from scratch in my kitchen. I cook from scratch in here. All right. So far, I'm not even going to count the things. I'm just saying. Another thing I'm not purchasing, and this is specifically for, crystals. Crystals, it's ages I don't buy crystals. And I think I brought up the subscription box because I do receive a crystal or two in my subscription box from Witch Casket. But I am not actively purchasing crystals. I don't have a large collection. You can't see it from here. I have a little box down here. I just kept the crystals the ones I had from the very beginning of my journey, and the ones I actively use. I'm not a big crystals person. I never have been, but there's the ones that I love, and those are the ones I use all the time. Moss agate, obsidian, a little bit of selenite. Clear quartz is my absolute favorite because I could use it for everything. And I suddenly acquired, I received a piece of malachite as a gift, and I love malachite. So there we go. But I have re-earthed and have another basket ready to be re-earthed of crystals. Basket of crystals that are ready to be re-earthed as soon as the ground thaws, because if I am suddenly going to need a crystal for whatever reason, I'm going to do my research and make sure it's ethically sourced. And yeah, I don't need a crystal for my magic. And honestly, some of the stones I use the most are ones that I found myself in nature. So there's that. I know there's quite the smoke show going on here. I like it. It smells really good, and it's not irritating my eyes or anything or making me cough. This is good stuff. All right. That's another thing too with incense. If I light up some incense and it starts to irritate me, out it goes. It's garbage. Of the ones that I kept. So, not buying crystals. It's a long time. I am not going to be buying crystals. And I have a basket of a bunch of crystals I'm going to be re-earthing as soon as the ground thaws. All right. So far I covered candles, incense, oils, crystals. Is there anything else missing? Pre-made spells, whether they be candles or herbs. I'm not going to be buying for 2021 any herbs because one, I still have what I need in here, but also I'm a kitchen witch. I use what's in my spice cupboard. I use the same herbs for my magic. I use herbs and spices that I use in the kitchen. And where I live, I can get purple sage literally on the side of the road. It grows wild here. It's like everywhere. I don't know if it grows wild, but it's everywhere. Like even at my job, at the clinic that I work at, tons of blue sage grows on the side, on the where the ramp goes up for people in wheelchairs and stuff like that. So I could just snip a little bit of blue sage fresh and use it for what I need to use it. I'm Italian. Rosemary is really big in my practice. It's also really big in my cooking. So rosemary is something I grow in my backyard. Rue, well, I got to tell you that my property, rue has invaded everywhere. There's rue growing, like little rue shrubs popping up everywhere. It's like tribbles out there. So I don't need to be purchasing any herbs for my magical practice. What else? So I covered all those things. So yeah, so those are the things I won't be purchasing because I could just forage for what I need in my backyard or in my kitchen. What I use for cooking is what I use for magic. And I think, I think that's most of what I wanted to talk about of things I'm not going to purchase anymore. Basically, I don't feel, and decor, like any kind of decor for my altar, for my home. I don't know if you could see, but I have quite a few witches that's right up here. Can you see? Let me try. There we go. Right, that's Stregonona. All right. My friend, my sorella Donna sent me Stregonona when my second child was born, and there she is, Stregonona, right there. I have a witch there, 2 up there, 2 up here. This one right above my head right here is from Salem. She's a modern, she's modern, but she's based on the Norwegian kitchen witch, which I have I have a original antique Norwegian kitchen witch in my kitchen. So as far as the decor goes, as you could see, it's I'm not lacking. It's enough. Some of the things I love the most are things I've obtained at thrift. I love this thing. I use it to, I would put a tea light here when I want to have like a little fire going in there with a tea light, or cone incense. So I love this thing. Got it at thrift. Things on my altar are things from nature. I have a raven feather that I found. Plants, that kind of stuff. So I won't be purchasing anything for decor. But if I do happen to run in, like if I go into a thrift store or whatever and I see something that fits with what I have, then of course it's gonna come home. If you've been watching me for 5 minutes, you know, like I'm a big vintage and thrift person. Everything you see in my background is thrifted, inherited, found on the side of the road. So, what else did I want to talk about today? It's going on, look at this, it's 44 minutes. And we covered, so I'm feeling good in my new space. I'm feeling good about my decision to leave my current employer. I feel good about the future. I feel good about 2021. 2021, depth year. I wanted to talk, okay, so in closing, I'm going to talk a little about what depth year 2021 looks like for me. So depth year 2021 is, so 2019 was a no-buy, go deeper kind of depth year. It was pretty standard. And just to recap, 2019 turned into a no-buy, so And it cured me of a lot of emotional shopping and retail therapy, which then resurfaced in 2020, but thankfully only in one subject matter. Like, it didn't do too bad, right? Anyway, sorry, I'm just getting comfortable, me. Then, for this year, depth year is a little different for me this year. So it's already February 15th today. And I gotta say that since I had the deck overwhelm and the big purge and finding out what it is I love about tarot decks and oracle decks, what works for me, what doesn't, having to rehome all those decks that didn't work for me was a job, people. It was work. It was a lot of work rehoming those decks. It took a lot of effort, a lot of and I don't mean there was the emotional, right, having to sit with all that, why I obtained it, FOMO, fantasy self, all that. But then there's the actual physical having to find a home for these things. Okay, they're not that easy to rehome. And if you're watching and you're going through the same thing, you know exactly what I mean. But now I know what I like. And since I got rid of all the ones making noise that weren't me, FOMO, fantasy self, and all that, the few decks that I brought into my life at the end of 2020 were total hits. L'Oracle Witch is a hit. The Living Altar, at first, I thought, oh my God, what was I thinking? Oh no, it's a hit. I love it. I think the Urban Crow Oracle is another hit. And oh my God, MJ Cullinane bought my book. She, unknowingly, she bought my book and she posted it on her Instagram. And I had months ago posted on my Instagram about the Urban Crow that I had pre-ordered. And yeah, so that was pretty exciting. MJ, if you're watching my channel, oh my gosh. Your Urban Crow Oracle is freaking brilliant. Brilliant. Okay. That's enough. Depth year. This year, depth year is going to be more about discernment. So I'm continuing with my Word of the Year release, which only asserted itself at my birthday. And my birthday is the last day of July. So you see how the same thing goes with my tarot card of the year. The Devil is my tarot card for when I turned, my birthday in 2020, right? When I did the math. The Devil's my card of the year from the Major Arcana from July to July of this year. And release is a word, was my word of the year that I selected in late 2019, which only asserted itself, its energy only asserted itself in my life after my birthday of 2020. So release is still something I'm doing. I'm still I just released, resigned from my job. I released my job. I released my old space and moved into a new space. I'm releasing a lot of ideas, releasing a lot of things that hold me back. It's on all levels, this release, right? So I'm still going with that word. But depth year for me this year, in 2019, it was about going deeper into my interests and my profession, which I did, people. I went as deep as you can possibly go into I went as deep as I could possibly go into my profession during a Hierophant year. It was very technical and very, very certification heavy. But anyway, this year, my depth year is informed by my previous depth year. And for this year, I think I'm finding myself drawn to, when it comes to purchases, say, whether it be, see, I mentioned all those things I'm not buying anymore. Well, discernment. It's not that I'm not buying decks anymore, but I'm no longer watching those unboxing videos and being triggered with FOMO and fantasy self, and I'm bored. I want to receive something in the mail, because I got to tell you, the fact that the mail has been so slow where I live, it's cured me of a lot of wanting to order stuff online, just because waiting is crazy. But really, the focus is discernment. I feel like I'm back to where I was before the insanity of FOMO and fantasy self, where I take my time and do my research, and especially with tarot decks, I'm a little difficult to please when it comes to tarot decks. It takes a lot for me to adopt a new tarot deck. I'm more open to oracle decks, but at the same time, I want to apply that same discernment and work with what I have, work with what's left. And I think 2021 is the year that I'm going to work with what I have left. And at the end of the year, release. Maybe, and when I mean the end of the year, I mean like, and probably it's going to come around July, August of 2021. Release the ones that I gave a fair chance to, and they're just not me. This depth year is going to be about enjoying all the resources I obtained during 2020, all the new books, all the new decks I obtained that I kept, and enjoy them and actually use them and develop a relationship with with these decks, and really get to know them. Like when I mentioned in that video a while back, that to the point where I could see every card in my mind, having that relationship with the decks that I'm currently using. If you've watched me for 5 minutes, you know that so far the deck that's really blown my mind since last year is Thoth. For me, every time I use Thoth, for reading, for magic, I ask myself, why do I own any other tarot deck? Except for Rider-Waite, which I use to read for the public. And lastly, 2021's depth year is going to be about just slowing down. Just slowing down. It's going to be a nesting year. It's interesting. It took someone else to move in with us, who's now family, to make me realize that I never really settled in. It took that person coming in and pretty much cracking the whip and saying, hey, there's some stuff in the basement's got to go. You know what I mean? It's like, clean your basement. But that person came into our lives. They moved in with us, and they're setting up their space to be very homey, and that has actually what's the word? It's permeated our household, and I think now we're all feeling like I guess that's why we moved our furniture around, and we're gonna freshen things up a little bit. So I think 2021's depth year is it's a pandemic, but I'm already a homebody, so it's not like the pandemic has affected me a lot in terms of my social life, because I'm a homebody. I'm very introverted, so again, staying home is a natural state. But I think 2021 depth year is to really connect with the land upon which I live, the house within which I live, and the spirits of the location, spirits of my backyard, the spirits of my home, and just slow the hell down. As far as because when we talk depth year, we're all talking about restriction. for me, there's no restriction. There's no restriction. So there's not a no buy, but there kind of is. I'm not buying anything I don't need. I'm not buying anything I already have. So and you know what? If there's a tarot deck or an oracle deck that I really, really want, I think there's probably enough room in my life maybe for maximum 4 new ones this year. Once, and I imagine I'll be releasing more than 4, because I'm already looking at a stack of 8 or 7 that are on my desk that I've already decided I'll be releasing those. But I'm not releasing them right away. Like I said, they're going to go in a box, and I'll make that decision in July if I'm ready to release them, because I'm at a place right now where I'm not feeling like they're making a lot of psychic noise. And they're not. It's just that it's more about discernment, not about stress purging, and which I did a little bit of that, and I caught myself. And so I don't want to engage in stress purging or purging as a stress release valve or something like that, because that's not healthy either. Well, if you're still here, we've spent almost an hour together. Thank you so much. If you're still here, I want to thank you again for spending this time with me. Thank you for your ongoing love and support. And most of all, I'd like to say that wherever you are in the world, I'm wishing you health. I'm wishing you safety. And I'm wishing you lots of love, joy, and all the things that you need. And until we see each other again, take care and talk to you soon.